Good afternoon, everybody. April 3rd, Monday, night after WrestleMania Night 2. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Hopefully, maybe when you get out of work, you guys will have time to watch this. Went and watched it. Brock versus Omos started off the night. Kind of typical stuff. Brock put down Omos. He sold for him for a while. Omos got to throw him around the ring. But in the end, Brock hit a few Germans, hit the F5, and it was all over. Almost, I think, has a lot of potential. I saw The Undertaker talk him up. AJ Styles talked him up. AJ Styles tried to kind of build him with the tag team and then losing to him. But since then, they just seem to be not really doing very much with Almost. Lost to Lashley, lost to Strowman, lost to Brock now. So if you're going to build this guy as a monster, you're going to build him as a superstar, you got to have him start getting wins over more than just jobbers. Obviously, AJ Styles isn't a jobber, but why have AJ go through all this stuff to build him and then just have him get beat by everybody? Now, it could be because Vince had to step down and Vince was the one who saw a lot in him. But I just hope if they're going to push Almost, give him some wins. Start making him actually look like a monster instead of a guy who gets beat up every once in a while and rarely gets the big wins, but beats up jobbers on Raw and SmackDown. I think he's got a lot of potential. Huge guy, one of the biggest guys they've ever had in the industry, and he's not just like somebody who can't do stuff. I think he's fairly young and athletic, so hopefully they'll do more with him. The Brock Lesnar's, his Germans looked like monstrous on Almost. Like, it looked like it was difficult to do. But other than that, there wasn't too much to go over. It was a typical Brock match. Nothing too fancy. Then we had the showcase for the women's tag teams. Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey came out. They had their gis on type thing, or part of their gis. The match was all right. I think some of the women, like Raquel Rodriguez, I think that's her name, and Liv Morgan, they looked okay together. Raquel's got a lot of potential, I think, but she still doesn't seem like she's quite comfortable in her skin. But I mean, she was out there at WrestleMania, which is hard to do. There was a heart attack that Shotzi and Natalya did, which was a throwback to the Hart Foundation with Jim the Anvil Neidhart and Bret Hart. That was amazing to see. I loved the heart attack. It's a great end move. I kind of wish the match had ended that way, but it was kind of a predictable ending with Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey picking up the win. Rousey quickly came in and put on an armbar at the end on Shotzi and made her tap out. And it was kind of dumb because they barely were involved in the match, and they were literally involved in a quick scene on the outside, and then the rest of the match you didn't see them until the ending, where she quickly locked up the armbar and got the win. So I was a little disappointed in that. I think, why not build up tag teams? But I get it. Ronda Rousey's an attraction. They figure they can build her, push her, and they're going to be able to sell tickets. And now with UFC buying the WWE, which I believe has been confirmed as of this morning, I imagine they have even bigger eyes on those former UFC people to some extent, because they can have a crossover appeal. Next on the card, what do we have? They had Bobby Lashley come out. He got kind of a show. He had to come out and lift up the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy, which that thing's huge. Hopefully this is actually something where they use to push him. A lot of the times when people win this trophy, they forget about it within a month. And it almost ends up being more of a curse than anything else because they don't use them with anything. So hopefully that won't be the case with Bobby Lashley. IC title match was next. Gunther, Sheamus, Drew McIntyre. If you like old school wrestling, this was a great match. Just beating people up. The chops, they hit so hard in the chest. Like, you could feel it when they hit. If you listened and watch it, and just brutal. Gunther's hard-hitting. Sheamus is hard-hitting. Drew McIntyre's hard-hitting. If you like those old school, like 80s, 90s wrestling matches with just giant men beating the tar out of each other, this is for you. They just smashed on each other for the whole match. Crazy moves. A lot of near falls. There was points where I thought Sheamus was going to walk away with his first Intercontinental Championship win. That wasn't the case. There were times when I thought Drew was going to walk away with it. I was pretty sure that the ring general was going to get the win personally, like going into the match, because I think he's fantastic and he's been built really well. It's the opposite of somebody like Omos, where you look at Omos and you're like, why aren't they building him more when they treat him like such a star, as far as like, oh, look at him. This is somebody they're actually building. And Gunther is future world champion material, in my opinion, as long as they keep building him in the right way. So hopefully that's the case. There were some really cool power bombs. I'm trying to think there was a cool spot where like Sheamus and Drew, he had him up. Sheamus had Gunther in the ropes for the 10 beats of the ballroom or whatever it is. And they were taking turns with Sheamus clubbing and Drew McIntyre chopping Gunther. They had like a team up on him. That was really cool. There was a white noise from the top rope, which always looks really brutal. Just a lot of cool spots. Drew McIntyre did that Undertaker dive over the top, which was really cool because it's always kind of crazy seeing somebody his size, 6 foot, whatever he is, 6'5", and he's got that type of agility where he can jump over the top. It's pretty amazing to see. In the end, Gunther got the win. I think he was the right choice, and hopefully we'll build up to who he should be taking on at the end, if you guys have seen it or not, but hopefully they're building him for the world title by maybe SummerSlam or WrestleMania of next year. Then after that, I think the next match was Bianca Belair and Asuka. This match was really good. I thought it was going to be really hard to follow that IC title match because it was really good and got the fans in standing ovations. But Asuka and Belair, they both had really cool entrances. Bianca had a bunch of like a dance team come out and do a dance. Asuka had a bunch of people dressed as her, which I wouldn't be surprised if some of those women are current NXT stars, future WWE stars, and they'll be talking about this in WrestleManias to come, how their first WrestleMania appearance was as one of Asuka's doubles. It was pretty cool. They had some really good matches. They got people invested. As an Asuka mark, I wanted to see her get the win because I remember her NXT days and her undefeated streak and how good she was. And I just wanted her to be able to recapture that, especially with her developing kind of, not a different persona, but she had kind of a fresh look. She had the new face paint, the new hairstyle, and she was more of a heel, kind of harnessing, I felt like, a little bit of the Great Muta type aspect of her character a little more. So, and with Bianca being champion for so long, I thought, man, it's got to be time for Asuka to get the win. You know, I don't think she ever really got that WrestleMania win or that WrestleMania moment. She had won that Royal Rumble, but she ended up losing to Charlotte. And this year I thought might have been her moment, but it just wasn't in the cards. Obviously, there's a lot of people like Bianca Belair. She's obviously an extremely strong woman, and I think that it was a good call, but I personally would like to have seen Asuka. Move-wise, there was a brutal, like, Batista Bomb-esque move from Bianca to Asuka on the outside of the ring. Like, under those mats is concrete. Those mats don't give a lot. Like, there's a little bit of give there, but that's a brutal move to take. So respect to them for doing that, and respect to Asuka for taking that move. That was really cool. There was a point where Asuka, she did this transition into an armbar near the end of the match. I didn't think the match was over there just because, if it had been the Asuka lock, that would have been something. But still, just the transitioning, they both know what they're doing, and they're both experienced wrestlers. And with her being able to quickly transition to that armbar and make it look real and good, I think that was really cool that she was able to do that. And it was kind of a moment where you're like, well, maybe she'll be able to put something together from here. But nonetheless, it just looks so smooth. And that led into Bianca getting her up to hit, I think it's called the EST, her big end move, which is like a reverse sort of, I don't know, GTS type thing, slam in the middle. It was cool. She got the W. She retains. I think she's closing in on one of the longest women's title reigns in history. So, I mean, there's that to look forward to for people that are fans of that. And obviously her and her husband and his tag team partner, the Street Profits, they also got a win. So hopefully this means big things for them. So maybe more tag team title reigns, the women's title reigns, and they can have more success. So good for them. And hopefully the Raw after WrestleMania will be good to them. Then we had The Miz. He came out. The Miz made history. Back-to-back, night 1, night 2 WrestleMania matches, losing both nights. It was kind of crazy because they had Shane McMahon come out, which, who thought Shane McMahon would be coming out at WrestleMania to take on The Miz? I did not see that coming. Last we heard from Shane, he was in a little bit of hot water for the way he booked the Royal Rumble, and it was kind of lackluster. So him coming out and getting a huge ovation, he thanked the crowd, and they started up this match really quickly. And then within about a couple of moves, you could tell that Shane, he went to do a turn after throwing the Miz to the ropes to hit something, and as soon as he turned, he fell backwards. It looked like his knee gave out. He tried to get up, he couldn't get up. So they started pointing to his thigh, started calling out doctors, and the Miz had to kind of like pretend like he was like, oh, I'm going to get him, I'm going to get him. But obviously he was buying time. You never see Shane again after they pull him out of the ring. All of a sudden, Snoop Dogg comes in. Shout out to Snoop Dogg for calling an audible, getting in there, and hitting a people's elbow. Like, that's not planned. He just has to come in and fly off the cuff. Who knows if the Miz told him to do it? Who knows if a ref or somebody in the back came out? I don't know. But nonetheless, to make whatever you could out of this segment, Snoop Dogg hitting a people's elbow, who would have thought that would ever happen? It made a WrestleMania moment none thought they would see. So, was it weird? Yes, but obviously all the performers involved, the most important thing is that Shane's okay. I'm pretty sure he's not, but at least he's got his health, be able to go and probably get surgery and get, I think they said a torn quad, I think they might have said. Whatever it is, hopefully he gets a good recovery, a swift recovery. I would doubt we see him very much in wrestling in the future. He's getting pretty old, and with an injury like that, I don't know how much more he wants to do. So that was what it was. It was a nice, quick little segment. Unlike the night before, it felt like they had more time on night 2. So it didn't feel like, man, they could have just cut this whole segment. It was fine. It was a nice little breather, especially after 2 banger matches between the IC title and then the women's title. They needed something to bring the crowd down and just let the crowd kind of calm down and go back and, all right, we're ready for the next couple of matches, because there was only 2 matches left at this point. Edge and Finn Balor. Edge is the Brood Edge, which I don't really care for, but it's fine. I'm sure there's people who like it. He comes out with the entrance. He's got this like disco ball-esque mask on. I was thinking maybe he's trying to harness his inward Edward Cullen, like that diamond sparkle in the sunlight vampire-esque look. I don't know how to feel about it. It reminded me kind of like some of Triple H's headgears, but it's like, I don't know. It's fine. It was kind of weird looking. He had that, and then the lights went out, I believe, and then when the lights came back on, his mask was gone, and he was just the Brood Edge coming out to the ring. And then you add the Demon Finn Balor, which I always think that's a really cool gimmick. He has like the 2 personas. That was kind of first pioneered by like Mick Foley having the multiple personality disorder type persona thing. So I think that was cool. Comes out, his entrance was kind of weird. He had like rave smoke things that he was spinning around, and they were leaning into the purple black color scheme for the Judgment Day. I would think it would be kind of cool to have the Judgment Day, if they're going to stay together moving forward, have them be led by the Demon Finn Balor, and they're led by that Essence or something. But instead, I don't know what they're really thinking with it. I think originally there was some plans for them to be led by like Dark Forces, because that was like Edge's vampire type brood. But now I have no idea what they're thinking. It was a good match. Balor had to no-sell some stuff because he was the demon and he was just a vicious monster. And then Edge threw a ladder at his face, which I get that they were aiming for brutality, and I get that it was an accident. But when he threw the ladder at his face, Finn didn't get his hands up right, and it looks like that ladder, like one of the rungs hit him right in the bridge of the nose and the forehead. So they had to call out doctors to slow down the match and get him stop bleeding, probably mostly to check on him, because it's pretty dangerous getting hit in the head like that and causing, he could have like a straight up cut right to his orbital or something. Like, there's a lot of dangers with having an open wound on your face. So they had to calm down and check it, and so that kind of takes kind of the lackluster out of the Demon Balor, because he's supposed to be the demon who, anything you throw at him, he just keeps coming back as an evil entity. But no, they have to calm him down so they can check him for the blood loss, which is obviously just, unfortunate. And at the end of the day, it's really just important that the guys have their health, and it's a bummer for that to get in the way, but human health is more important than the match. I know my dad was like, they should just call the match. If he can't continue, they should just call the match. It was their moment, and they had a lot of spots at WrestleMania. I would hate to see them cut short over something like that, because at the end of the day, it's a performance and you want to see what both guys can bring to the table. In the end, it was Edge standing tall after a spear. I thought it was kind of lackluster. They did have some cool moments. At this point, what's the point of the Demon? He can beat Baron Corbin, which everybody can do. He can't beat Roman. He can't beat Edge. Who's the last guy he fought before that? I think he beat Seth Rollins at one point. If you're not going to give again, this is similar to like what we had earlier with Omos. If you're not going to push these characters, people aren't going to feel like they're a big deal anymore when you bring them out to these big events and they just lose to the old guard. The old guard is an important part. They've always been there. You go back years and years and years, and obviously those old wrestling characters, they're going to get the shine a lot of the times because they built the wrestling before them, the newer characters. But at some point, right, Edge and Randy Orton, they have these great long matches, which some of them I think were a little too long. That's great. But we need to put people over those guys to make the future stars. If those guys lose to the current stars all the time, then what is the point? It's the same thing with Cena. That's why I'm not mad that Cena lost Austin Theory. He's putting over a young guy. That's good, because that guy's going to be a future star, and that makes him, he can use that for the whole year to come. He can be like, I beat John Cena at WrestleMania. I'm the man. A-Town down. They need to push the younger guys, and they need to give these younger guys, especially when the ones with big gimmicks like Finn Balor, Bray Wyatt. If you're just going to have them lose to people like Goldberg and stuff, makes them look like crap. And it makes them less believable to win in the future. Anyways, it was a good match. It was cool. I always like Hell in the Cells as long as they don't end in some stupid finish to where like the thing with Bray Wyatt where they called the match because the Fiend could be dead, but he was a demon and wasn't dead. Or the one that Roman and Strowman couldn't continue after Brock beat them up. It's so dumb. No, they can continue. It's Hell in a Cell. There's supposed to be no rules. For what it was a good match. Shout out to Edge for getting the win. Lastly, we had the main event, which they took quite a while to get to. Somebody must have, I don't know if Edge and Balor had more time they didn't use because of injuries and stuff, or if Shane was supposed to go a little longer, but they took a long time getting to the main event. Lots of commercials and stuff. So we finally come back. Cody Rhodes has this cool entrance. The normal, but comes out with the two wings on his back. I wasn't sure if that was maybe a reference to Kenny Omega, the one-winged angel. Comes out, kisses his wife, gives hugs to his family, holds his little daughter. Very cool moment. Then Roman comes out with Solo and Heyman, the wise man. They build up to the match. They're getting announced. They get in there. They start wrestling. The story of the night is Roman is kind of doubting himself being able to beat Cody. In the beginning, he's the cocky, brash guy who's been there and been there and been there. He's the top guy of the company. But as the match goes on, he keeps being unable to put Cody down. Great story work from Roman. Great story work from Cody. Every time Cody would start to build up an offense, Solo Sikoa would pick a spot. He hit him with the chair in the ribs at one point on the outside when the ref wasn't looking, which then allowed Roman to take over some more. Then Roman would build up frustration, build up some heat. Cody would come back. Cody looked good for a little bit. Then Solo he grabbed his foot when he ran to the ropes, which distracted him. And then Roman was able to hit him with a big clothesline, which was a beautiful lariat. Flipped Cody right over. Still, can't put Cody away. Finally, this goes on for a bit more. Cody makes another comeback. Solo goes and smacks Cody Rhodes with his weight belt. This time the ref sees it and hears it, turns and kicks Solo Sikoa out of the arena. Demands he goes to the back. Now this leaves Roman with just his wise man, you would think, in the ring. The match continues. He still can't put Cody away. Cody puts the Cody cutter on. He does something where there's like a table spot. I think this might have happened a little earlier. He does a back body drop where he flips Roman into one of the tables because Roman was going to try to power bomb him through it. Some near falls ensue. And then Cody accidentally misses with a kick, which hits the ref and knocks him out. So shenanigans are afoot, whatever they may be. Usos come out, hit some super kicks, hit the day one, the one and done. Then Zayn and Owens come out. They beat up the Usos. Then they hit Stunner on Roman from KO. Then the Hell of a Kick from Sami Zayn. Leaves them both kind of in a pile and a wreck. The ref gets back in the ring. Cody goes to cover Roman. You know this can't be the end. Like, if this is how Cody wins, it's like, yay, the good guy beat him because two other guys beat up Roman. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4. Roman kicks out, of course. At this point, I'm like, dude, Cody is going to get the win. But he's not winning that way. They get up. They wrestle some more. There's some more near falls. Cody's building steam. He's doing some of his daddy's moves, like the bionic elbow, looking good. Then he goes to the corner. The ref's looking at Roman out of nowhere. Solo comes back in, grabs him. Oh, wait, no, I missed it. There were 2 crossroads. Cody hit 2 crossroads, and he was going for a third, and Paul Heyman got up in the apron. That's what distracted the referee. So while he's looking at him, he's got Roman right, like sagging there in his arms, ready to hit him with the third one. Solo jumps up, comes into the ring, got a hoodie on, hits him with the Samoan spike. Cody's like barely standing up. Roman kind of comes to, hits the ropes, hits a spear. I thought, man, he's going to kick out. 1, 2, 2.5, 2 3/4, 3. Roman Reigns retains the WWE World Champion, the WWE Universal Champion. The 900-plus day streak continues. Roman's headed towards 1,000 days. Who knows if he'll make it there? He could lose tonight on Monday Night Raw. We don't know. But man, shocking ending. I thought for sure Cody was going to get it. I thought this was going to be his moment where he realized his destiny. Obviously, that wasn't in the cards for him in this WrestleMania. Who knows what their plans are for him going forward? But the bigger question is, what is the plan for Roman? There's nobody left. There's The Rock, I guess, and Gunther. And I guess he could have another feud with AJ Styles. But I don't know who else there is left. I guess they could go back to Seth Rollins. Kind of crazy. There's not a lot of guys left. You got Braun Breaker coming up. Or they could try to push somebody like a Johnny Gargano. But for the life of me, I'm like, who is left? But Roman is the chief. Acknowledge him. That's how WrestleMania went off. Hey, if you guys liked WrestleMania, if you watched it, or if you're planning on watching it, like, comment down below. Say what your favorite match was. I appreciate you guys watching and spending some time with me today. And I just hope you guys had a great weekend. And hopefully you have a good week to come. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.